You let me know when you're ready, bro.
I'm good. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, guys. So, welcome back to N&M's Farmers Market for our 6th episode. This is a special episode. We're coming remotely. We're trying to be conscious of quarantine precautions, and my boy over here isn't feeling too well, so we're doing this remote. So first remote podcast. So what's up, Mod? How you been, man?
Good, man. Just been sick, as you know, the last week. So we're getting there. We're getting better. We're getting over it, and I feel good. I lost my sense of smell, so that was fun.
bro, Mario was doing well, and then he was pretty much like, I was doing good, and then sprayed some cologne, and when I couldn't smell my cologne, that's when I knew I was up Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, like I texted Nate, and I was like, "Hey, so is there anything else that can make you lose your sense of smell besides COVID?" And he's like, "Bro, you have COVID." And I'm like, "I have COVID." I didn't know what else to say. I was like, I knew too. I knew the answer. I just was so caught off guard because I wasn't feeling bad at all or anything. Just smell disappeared.
Yeah. Kind of wild because you had a whole bunch of negative tests too, so that's kind of
Four. I had 4 of them. 4 negative tests.
Which maybe you don't have COVID, or maybe you have something that's not popping positive. But
I got the new COVID.
It
ain't out yet.
There we go. What's the new one after Omicron? That's what Mod's got right now.
Yeah, that was pretty wild though. I mean, I took 4 of them. I even took one after I lost my sense of smell, and it still came back negative. So
that's wild. Yeah. All right, so we kind of this has been a couple weeks since we had our last podcast. The last one we had our special guest, our boy Ali, and we've been a little bit busy with just dealing with the holidays and work, and so the first one since the break, but happy to bring a new pod, man.
Yeah, man, it's been interesting because we were doing them like consecutively, so like it feels like I haven't seen you in a month.
I know. It's been a little bit.
I literally saw you for Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving.
I know, no joke. I was like, yeah. So we had a pretty solid Thanksgiving. We ate some good food.
My turkey came out.
Mod made a turkey. It sounds like it turned out pretty bomb. So
yeah, it was good, man. It was a good time.
What was I gonna ask you, man? What was your favorite thing that you had besides the turkey?
Oh man, it's always the red chili. The ham, of course, right? Because I tell you, like, I'm a ham guy. But the red chili on the mashed potatoes with pork.
Oh yeah, boy.
I want some right now.
Yeah, man, that was some. We had some. It had some good food. We ended up celebrating it with a family friend, and Mod popped in, and so we had a good time.
You know what's crazy is I got to eat their food too.
Yeah, dude.
All over. I was eating all over for Thanksgiving, so I was happy. I had a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. All right, let's see a couple things. Kind of want to touch base. So, did you get to do any Black Friday shopping? I don't think I even touched base with you. Are you all caught up on all your gifts?
No, I'm always behind like normal. But like I was telling you. I'm not really big on Black Friday, but I used to just enjoy going.
I'm the same, dude.
I just like being there for the chaos. Like, and I used to work it a lot too, right? Because I used to work at Best Buy, I did work at the Nike outlet store for a little bit, so I was there for that. But I never was really big on like getting all those deals because you and I are very techie, and all the tech stuff that we want is usually on sale throughout the whole season because we want the expensive ass shit. And so that stuff usually typically stays on sale for the whole holiday season, not just Black Friday, right? Like those doorbuster deals aren't really.
There's no doorbusters that applied to me, and I was really watching like several items. I'm like, yo, even if this thing goes into like there's a 2-hour span to buy this thing, you better be ready. And I was checking like the whole time, like, yo, please come up, waiting for that thing to. There's a couple things I was looking for, but none of them came up, unfortunately.
I did get a flash drive for a pretty good deal. I got like a 128 gig flash drive for $10, but that was like on a whim. I didn't, and I didn't even end up needing that. I just needed to know how to reformat a flash drive. So shout out Nate, by the way. That was like pretty mad about that one.
I was like, bro, you just need to get it. I was like, you just need to get a new format. You're like, bro, I'm already en route. I'm literally at Best Buy right now.
I know, and it was crazy. Like I didn't even. It's not like a bad waste. I wouldn't even say it's a waste because I'll be able to use it. But it's just one of those things where, moving forward, now I know. So
there you go.
Good stuff.
All right, let me pull up some of our topics because I know we got a whole bunch of kind of interesting things that we wanted to talk about. Is there anything before we get off like the shopping and anything that you would recommend or maybe suggest people still keep an eye out for?
So one thing that sometimes like I like to look for like before Christmas is sometimes like you'll see like a dive on stuff that didn't get sold during Black Friday. So like a lot of from what I was hearing is there wasn't a lot of great deals during Black Friday, which is why Black Friday numbers were down. Like a lot of people still did their shopping, but they did a lot online. There wasn't really like a lot of doorbuster stuff. But just keep an eye out because sometimes right before Christmas, if there were some things that they were trying to push that they just couldn't sell, they tend to go back on discount before Christmas. So just keep an eye out for stuff like that. We talk about cologne on here all the time. There was a lot of great deals on cologne. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't even touch base. Oh, speaking of cologne, let's maybe maybe we'll do a cologne rec right out the gate, bro. If you wanna.
Sure. So, Nate, you should have brought yours. Would have had all three of them. So the one we're going with today is Club de Nuit Intense Man, and we'll have to get like a picture up of it because I know I'm flipped around. Maybe I can flip my camera back around in the next segment. But this is the parfum. It only comes in one size, and then you have.
I have the EDP, right?
The EDT, yeah, you have the EDT. I think the EDT is better,
which lasts forever considering it's an EDT.
Yeah, and I've had both now, and I think the EDT is best. But the best one that I've had out of the line is the limited edition one, and it even comes in like a box and like a whole bag and everything. And again, these smell just like Creed Aventus, which is like a $200-300 cologne. They're amazing. I get so many compliments with this cologne. Like Nate can attest to this. Like I'll be wearing this. I got a compliment at the post office the other day. The lady was like, "Whatever you're wearing smells fantastic. It's not too much." And I was like, I even gave her the name. I usually don't give everyone the name of what I'm wearing, but I gave the lady the name. Maybe she gonna get it for her husband or something. Yeah, hopefully.
No, they smell good, which I didn't know. I just kept getting. I was like, "Yo, Mod, that whatever you're wearing is freaking schmacks." And so Mod ended up copying me one for my birthday. So thanks, my dude.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. So my favorite one though so far, and I'm gonna have to get you one of these too, Nate, because they're hard to come by. But whenever they get in stock, but they're basically the same price as the parfum. So this I think was like $50, right? Oh, nice. In the special edition, it is smaller, but this is actually a parfum. But this one, apparently, from what I've read and from what I've listened to on YouTube, and shout out like Jen Sense, he's like one of the guys that I watch. This one smells right in line with the old batches of Creed Aventus. So this is like the best Creed replica, and it has like that real smoky flavor that a lot of people say Creed used to have. And it's got that longevity like the EDT, and it's so good. And it doesn't have as harsh of an opening. So that's one thing with Club de Nuit is that a lot of people say the opening smells like lemon pledge, and it's real synthetic. But once it dries down, it just smells so good. It's like if you can get past the opening, you'll be like, oh my god, that's fantastic. And it really is. That's the one thing with the parfum. The parfum's not as harsh, so that's why a lot of people like it more. But for me overall, I think the EDT is the best one. And then if you can somehow get your hands on the limited edition, hands down the best one. They cleaned up the opening, and overall it smells just like Creed Aventus. And if you've ever smelled Creed Aventus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it is like, damn. So great colognes. I recommend them. Price wise, you can't beat them, especially for replicas. Like I said, this super special edition was around $60, and even the big parfum was $60, and like the one that I got you, Nate, I think is like $40, dude.
Yeah, no, it smells great, dude.
So good stuff. I could grab something else, but we'll just do that for now until the next in person one.
We'll do that one. That sounds like a good one to check out if you guys haven't ever smelled it. All right, so let's see. There's a couple things you want to start. You want to start football, basketball,
Let's go
or
football
really?
right now, cause
Okay, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. All right, so
Um,
go ahead. No, you go.
no. So one thing we definitely wanted to talk about was like the whole Kyler Murray thing, and so I don't know. A lot of people probably already seen this, but Jason Peters, was it Jason Peters? No, Patrick Peterson. I'm sorry,
Patrick Peterson.
cut that out. Patrick Peterson now plays for the Vikings. Used to be his teammate, and he was on a podcast that he does with him and another person, and I don't remember who the other person
I was about to say I don't even know who the other guy is.
I don't want to misquote the names, but essentially, like he had asked him, they were chopping it up, and he said the only thing Kyler Murray cares about is Kyler Murray, and it blew up. It got pretty
That's
crazy.
a hot take, dude. There was so many people talking about it.
Even Kyler Murray was like, he tweeted at him, and he was like, "Bro, you have my number. You know where to find me." I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you want me to go?
No. So I'll give you my take at least a little bit, since I don't know. I think to the same degree that you do, but the one thing I thought was interesting was that Kyler Murray was pretty much like, "Oh, you have my number. You should have hit me up," but he doesn't owe him anything to go through that with him. He's like, you just asked me my opinion on this guy. I told you my opinion on him. But it doesn't, I guess it doesn't really, why would he had come up? Like he wouldn't, it's not, I don't think it necessarily bothers Patrick Peterson. It was just, they asked him what they thought about him, and then he gave them the honest opinion. The one thing I kept seeing was that people were like getting mad about it, saying that, oh, he's using it as a way to like have his platform jump off or whatever. But I think it's just like they asked him a question and he just kind of gave them his honest answer, and it's like I don't need to talk to you, Kyler, to give you this update. Like we're not friends for me to even go over this. Like I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they were teammates, right, for a while, and so I think his opinion holds a little bit of weight because it's not the first person to say that, and it's not the first time this has come up. I will say, like, he doesn't know the dynamic now, so maybe that's something he shouldn't have just kind of blurted out like that.
Yeah, maybe he could have prefaced it with, like, timing-wise. Like, whenever I was there, this is what I saw.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I think that would have eased it over a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then he did come out after the fact and be like, I have no beef with Kyler Murray or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't really – he doesn't seem like the type of person to me that, like, carries grudges. It just seems like it came out in the moment from what he knows of him.
Yeah.
It's an interesting take because, again, it's not like the first time this has come up. And I want to give Kyler Murray the benefit of the doubt because, he was pretty young when Patrick Peterson came in. So it just all growing pains and stuff like that. It just kind of caught me off guard because I was like, damn. And then you just see everyone kind of going in on him and like agreeing with it. And it was like, that's why they put that in there, the study time in his contract before it made a big old mess. And then it just like people were quick with it. So I don't know. I see both sides of it, but it was very interesting. It was just like,
dude, Kyler's having a year, man. That's why I feel kind of bad for him because I feel like he's really getting the rough end of the stick this year, where it just seems like everybody's coming for him. Like it just seems like he can't seem to do anything right. I feel bad for him because it does seem like every week some report comes out and it's like painting him in a bad light, and so it seems unfortunate. I wish you don't hear any current players say anything, but obviously they still play with him, so they're not trying to start any
ain't trying to rock the boat.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting because I think, just my kind of hot take. I think their head coach is gonna get fired.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a hot take. I think that's an accurate take. I think Homeboy's for sure gone by the end of this year, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, and like we talk about all the time, every team needs a fall guy. I think he's their fall guy.
Yeah, I think he's their fall guy this year.
Steve Nash 2.0. Well, because you look at the roster and they have a ton of talent, so they should be a lot better. But of course, they're going to blame someone.
Yeah,
falls on the head coach most of the time in football. So
I really thought they were going to be better this year because of how they did last year, and for them to pretty much not lay a goose egg, but they're definitely not having the same year.
No, at all. It's good. It's football, man. It's tough. you just have years like that. Sometimes it takes everyone. It's not like the basketball where you can have.
Well, you know, speaking of basketball, though, so I was going to say, the one thing is that, like, in basketball, if there's beef or you don't get along with it, there's only, like, 12 to 16 guys on the squad or whatever. You know, you got your starters bench and then, like, whoever the reserve people are. So it's a kind of a bigger deal if there would be beef. But, like, in football, there's so many damn players on the team.
Yeah.
He can pretty much, like, go without actually having to interact with him to like a real legit extent, you know, because you end up having your, you know, and they're not even on the same side. So
speaking of so many players, did you see the Seattle guy?
No,
when Derek last week. So last week Derek Carr threw an interception. The guy from Seattle, he got so excited he ran on the field. He was on the sideline. Yeah. He ran onto the field and like joined in on the blocking for him in the return. Dude. And I was hearing that he said he got so excited because he thought when he caught the interception, he thought it was down. Yeah. Yes, but then his reaction, just a football player, is shit. I got to start blocking. You know what I mean? It was just so funny. Like that's some funny ass shit. Like I'm surprised like that doesn't happen more often. To be completely honest,
bro. Dude, how long have you been watching? And you probably have never seen that. I've never seen that, and so
never seen anything like that.
Whenever I saw it, I was like, "Is this for real? Like, is this for real life?" I like saw it. I was like, "Oh no, homie, for real!" Ran onto the field, and then somebody else said, "Yo, I think he thought he was down, and then was in the middle of the field, and the dude realizes the play's still live." It's like, bro.
You know what's crazy is like. I've seen a lot of crazy shit in football, like coaches tripping players, you know what I mean, sticking their foot out, and
bro, that Tomlinson one is like next level. That's got to be like top 3. Come on, man! Moments like, bro, are you for real? like, oh, I'm just gonna accidentally trip this dude that's got like a freaking wide open freaking touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the come on man for this last week, but it was pretty funny. Like there was this dude from Pitt. He was mad. So Miami, one of my favorite college football teams, they're getting wrecked. They've been having a bad year. I figured they were going to because they got a new coach that came in and everything, and everyone was like, "Oh, he brought in a good recruiting class." Like it's just hard when you change. You have a lot of players that were set up for one system. It just happens, right? Well, dude is mad because they gave up a touchdown and they're kicking the shit out of Miami, and he's like on the sideline and he's like smacking himself with his own helmet.
Oh yeah,
and you just see all his teammates. All his teammates are like, "What the?"
Yeah, no, I saw it, dude. I was like, if this dude didn't have what is it, CTE, he does now.
He does now, or his head is hard as. Because I'm like, Jesus, dude.
I didn't need this.
I know. He was just like mad at himself. I'm like, I don't know.
No, I saw the clip of it, but I didn't know who it was or what was going on with that. So
yeah, I don't remember his name, but he played for Pitt, and that was like what was going on, and I'm over here like, damn, my Hurricanes, and then this guy's mad about a touchdown. I'm like, all right, bro, chill. His teammates were my favorite thing though. Like the whole bench is just looking at him, and they're just like,
what is going on?
Yeah, like they just couldn't believe he did something like that.
Crazy dude.
So yeah, man, good stuff. But football wise, I think it's been a pretty interesting season. My Jets hot take is still looking somewhat decent.
Bro, I was gonna ask you if you wanted to run that back, if you wanted to go top 3 teams, top. Okay, so yeah, let's do. We'll make this one quick, but top 3 teams right now for just Super Bowl. We won't even go conference. Like top 3 teams of who you think could win. And you can be a homer, bro. You can be a homer, bro.
I'll go Chiefs. Chiefs number 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Bills number 2. They're like 1A, 1B right now. And then I wouldn't say the Eagles. Probably
bro,
top
you're
3.
You're not even gonna put your boys in there, bro.
We're the Cowboys, man. Like it's like we're destined to like disappoint our fans. So speaking of that, the game's going on right now, and like we're losing. Oh, we're up. So we just scored. So it's 14-10 Cowboys against the Colts.
Oh, for real, bro? I might have to put that game down here on the iPad so I could watch it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if we're going like division though, like I would say like Chiefs, Colts, Bengals, AFC, right, and then NFC, I'm saying Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys. But hear me out.
All right, let's see it.
I liked the Niners just lost Jimmy Garoppolo today for the season. He broke his foot.
No way. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That's actually
they just announced it. My hot take was, though, the rookie that came in, I think he's good, bro.
Wait. So wait. Who was supposed to be there? There's another guy.
Trey Lance.
What happened to him?
Trey Lance he broke his ankle first game of the season.
Oh, that's right. So he's out. Mm-hmm. So he's been. I was like, okay. So he's done for the season. Garoppolo is done for the season, and now they brought in this. Who's the?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Give me a second.
No way, dude. I did not know that.
Rookie, and I'm gonna give you his stats for the day. Okay, his name is Purdy. B. Purdy. I don't remember his first name. Sorry, people are gonna kill me. I don't even remember where he's from. They said it when I was watching the game. He was 25 of 37, so they let this dude throw. They weren't just like, no.
25. Well, you know why? But they're like, if this rookie beats us, we'll just eat it.
Yeah. So 25 of 37, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a quarterback rating of 88.8, and normally you'd be like, whatever. Good, that's pretty good against the Dolphins defense. Like, they were playing the Dolphins. It's not like they were playing just a bunch of scrubs. So, in my mind, if he can play like that, I know it's always interesting with the rookie QB because in football, that's like the one thing that can change a game. Because you don't have tape on the guy, right? So you don't know his tendencies. You don't know what to do to him to fluster him. And he could have just been playing off adrenaline. Again, like I tell you all the time, sometimes with rookies, you're too dumb or too like wet behind the ears to know any better. So
really we'll see. Realize the gravity of the situation.
Right, exactly. But we'll see, man. He looked good. Like, he was making some throws where I'm like, okay, I don't care who that is. That's a great throw. Like, and so they might have a New England situation happen where if they end up in the Super Bowl this year and they win a Super Bowl with this guy, you heard it here first, folks. Because from what I saw today, I was just kind of like, dude, did they just have a New England Tom Brady type situation where they...
You know what, though? Sometimes... It helps because they don't have enough scouting. Like, they don't have enough data on you to know your tendencies.
Yep.
So it helps for a brief period of time, bro. But if it's just long enough, they're gonna figure it out. And then they go through that weird sophomore slump where people know what your tendencies are, and then you just have to become like an all around. So and it kind of worked with like Kaepernick too, where he came in, killed it, is literally on the goal line to win a Super Bowl, and homie didn't. Like, just so. Who knows? Like, I'm excited to see that, dude. I need to touch base with one of my boys that's a big 49ers fan. I need to see if he's like hype about it or if he's like bummed out.
Ask him what he thought, bro. He's gonna I guarantee you, if you ask him, he's gonna be like, bro, he looked just as good as Jimmy. And I'm not saying Jimmy's a bad quarterback. Like, he has his moments, but
he just makes he pulls some Kirk Cousins
reminds me a lot of Tony Romo,
bro, or Kirk, where he just like, oh, we're doing all right. Oh no, here's a pick. Oh, speaking of Kirk Cousins, bro, I was so hype about my Vikings, dude.
They beat the Jets today, by the way.
And then, so literally, what were we? We were 8-1 going into the game against you guys. I'm hype about this. I'm like, oh, I'm about to give it to all my Cowboys friends, my dad, like everybody that's a Cowboys fan. I was all, they about to hear it this year, bro. I'm driving from back home, and I don't even have the game on. I'm getting text messages from you, but I'm like listening to my music, whatever. I think I stop at a rest area or something like that, and then I look at my phone. It's like, I think you sent me like, hey, how about that? You said something like, I like that halftime score or something like that. I'm like, oh no. I open up my
halftime score yet?
Check that halftime score yet, and I open up the thing, bro. Open it up to my ESPN app, and it's like 27-3. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! Like, you've got to be kidding me right now. I was like, this is not happening. Then my dad's sending me text messages. I'm getting it from everybody. I'm like, this is just the worst. We could be having the worst year, but as long as we beat you guys, I'm okay with it. But when we're having one of the best years and we drop like the biggest goose egg, and you guys literally, what'd you guys beat us by, like 40? What'd you guys beat
40-3, I think it was, final score or something like that.
Devastating.
We'll check it right now.
Devastating. I was really hype about our squad until that game, and then I can't even, because otherwise I'd been like, we beat the Bills recently. I was like, oh, we about to go to the chip, bro. Yeah, no, I don't think I don't have high hopes for the chip right now.
Hold on.
Because we might play you guys.
I don't know, man. It's always hard to beat the team twice, especially in the NFL. That's why divisional games are always a toss up. It was 40-3. Yeah, bro. I was
right. Kirk, like they had like a hangover from the last week. We were like, oh, we that team right now after they pulled the miraculous comeback on the Bills, and then
the way the Packers and fucking Aaron Rodgers seems to own us. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get like angry, but it's hard not to get angry. That's how we own you guys, because we've beat you guys 3 straight times. 2 of those times we're on the road right now,
bro. Well, it seems like it goes
all 3.
It seems like it goes every couple years. Like last 2 years, no. So the last 2 years, you guys have put the whooping on us. But the year before, you went to that game and we beat you guys. Every time you go to the game, we win. I need you to go to that next game. I need you to go to that.
I know. We need
to go to that next game, bro. We'll have to coordinate that. Where's it?
I know.
Is it in Dallas this next year? Or no, it's in Minnesota.
No, so we played your guys'. Well, we played your guys' division this year, so we probably won't play you guys again next year unless we
play
both
you guys
finish
every
first.
year.
It's because we've both been winning our divisions. So, and we played your division this last year. So if we play you guys next year, it's gonna be because you won the division and we won the division. Like that's how
we're winning
NFL
the division
schedule goes.
No, dude, I'm telling you,
I don't know. We're a question mark right now.
We'll see, but I swear we've played each other the last like freaking 10 years for some reason, and we haven't won the division that many times. That's for damn sure.
No, well, it's because like for example, like if you finish second place, then you play every second place team that finished second place.
Your boy Prescott almost dropped one. Your boy Prescott almost threw one away right now, bro.
Another pick?
Yeah, it was like right at the dude, and it just went through his hands.
He gets lucky like that quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't go say. So you said Eagles as 3, and then 1A, 1B, Chiefs, Bills. Which I'm not mad at it. I think that's a pretty good. I have essentially the same. Yeah, I don't think I have the same. No, I don't think I can. I don't think I can change that at all, because I thought the Dolphins were doing pretty good at one point, and I thought they were going to have like this stride, and they kind of have been kind of weird. But I think those three teams are the top. And if we had beat you guys and not dropped that goose egg, I would even put us like right there at, right there with the Eagles, but not after that loss, dude. There's no way.
I think we both of our teams have like a tendency to
we drop games we drop games that we shouldn't drop.
Sometimes we play down to our competition.
Yeah.
So the Eagles are very interesting because like
are they 10-1?
Yeah,
what
11-1.
Yeah, dude, they're killing it. They're like some of the announcers are like, sports people are like out on them. I was like, bro, they've lost one game. We can't be abandoning ship. And homie, goodness gracious, Jalen, what's his name? Hurts. Bro is arguably MVP. Like, he's playing well. Like, he's not. I don't think he beats out Mahomes or Josh Allen, but he's in the talks at least, considering. Whereas like last year they were like, is this guy even a starter?
Yeah, I think the reason that people are like kind of hating on them is for a couple reasons, but mainly because if you can make them one dimensional and make them throw, which is really hard, that's why they're 11-1. If you can make them throw, they're beatable.
Which in the playoffs, that's when we see that happen. You're going to actually kind of maybe have that happen.
Well, and that's what's tough, right? In the playoffs, is if you can't run the ball, you're not going to win any games. That's usually what football turns into, is a real like run-heavy game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this whole end of the season shakes up. My best guess, like if just being real and taking out my fandom out of it, I don't see the Eagles losing more than 2 games maybe towards the end of the year. Like I think the only loss I could honestly say maybe they'll take is against us. That's a maybe too, because us, we get on our horse. So, and I think we're gonna lose another game, even if we don't. If we do beat the Eagles, I think we lose one more. That game at the end of the year at Washington is very sus for us. But if we like, let's say the Eagles lose another game, and that game against the Eagles is to take the division lead because we would own the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I think because we'd have the same division record, but I think the team that wins at the end ends up winning with the tiebreaker. So, actually, we would have a better division record because the other Eagles losses to the Redskins. So if that game at the end of the year is for us to win the division and, get the number 1 seed in the playoffs, because we would need you guys to lose the game, by the way. So I need you guys to lose one more game, which you still have to play the Packers one more time, I think. So there's hope. I think
are
then
we
I can
are
see
we
us winning
2
that.
in the NFC right now?
You're number 2.
Oh boy. Ooh, boy.
But only one team gets a bye now, so
yeah,
but,
we'll see. I don't think we're getting that, but we'll see.
You never know. I mean,
I just need the Eagles to drop 2. There you go.
Yeah.
So man, we need the bye. We really do. We really do. I need these guys to be as prepared as possible.
I don't need you guys getting the bye. I need somehow for us to fall into a bye and go on and get ourselves a Super Bowl. I'd just be happy if we got to the NFC Championship, man. It's been so long. Like, how old am I? I'm 30, so it's been more than it's been 28 years, I think, because 95 was the last time. Sorry, 27 years. 27 years. Yeah.
I just need us to get to the damn Super Bowl. We've been too close. We've been too close, bro. It was what was it, 98 and then like 2008 or 9 or whenever Favre took us, and then that one year that Case Keenum was there. We've been close. We just can't freaking seal the deal, so we'll see.
So remember we were talking about Dak, and you said he almost gave one away. He ended up giving one away. He threw a pick
immediately after. Oh, what?
I'm telling you, man, he drives me crazy.
All right, partner. Let's move over to let's throw a non-sports one in here, just to kind of mix it up. Just so that before we get back to the basketball, we can close with basketball stuff. So one thing that I know you really want to talk about was tips for gym newbies.
Hey. Yeah, let's get into that because actually that's a great conversation.
Yeah.
Considering everything. So the reason we wanted to bring this up and the reason I keep telling Nate I think we should talk about this is because I've been noticing the gym has been crazy busy lately. And it seems like a lot more people are trying to get into the gym flow before New Year's. A lot of people like to do it for their New Year's resolution. Totally understand. I was one of those people at one point. But it's been like ridiculously busy. And so shout out to all the new people going to the gym. Respect it. I was there at one point. Can't say enough about how like I would encourage anyone to go to the gym. I think it's great for everyone, even if you think you're in great shape or, there's not a spot for you at the gym or a place for you. There's definitely a place for you. So if you feel embarrassed or whatever, don't worry. Even like myself who goes every day, like I still have my moments where like I feel a little bit embarrassed at the gym. But some tips that I would give, for sure, if you're not sure of how a machine works or you need some advice, don't be afraid to ask. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people look very mean and scary at the gym because, for me personally, like I know I have RBF at the gym. For me, that's my place to unload, like to I don't know, it's like my therapy, right? So I would say to anyone who's like going, if you need help with the machine or you're afraid, like you don't really know what it does or like how to use it or like what exercise or what body part it's for, whatever, don't be afraid to ask. People are pretty nice at the gym. It's a pretty tight-knit community. So like the more you're involved and the more that you ask questions and the more you're willing to learn, like believe me, you can make friends pretty fast at the gym and people are more than happy to help. And you'd be surprised, man. A lot of people there are like actually happy to see you, bettering yourself and like wanting to get in shape and to do things. So if people look mean and scary, don't be too afraid. There's definitely some nice people at the gym. And just kind of go out of your way and make some friends, man. That's definitely my biggest advice to anyone when they're first starting is don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips, by the way? Because you've been a newbie at the gym.
Yeah. I did we can talk about our workout journeys another time. But yeah, so I did a interesting thing. I think this was probably 2010. Was it 2010? Yeah, 2010. Had gotten out of a relationship and was like, I was actually, so funny thing about the story. We don't need to do this tangent right now, but it was essentially like a revenge thing, because it was like, oh, breaking up, the money I was supposed to give for this person for like a gift, I'm like, I'm gonna use all this money that I was supposed to give for this person for their gift, and I'm gonna go buy weights and all this stuff, dude. So probably in like a 2-year span, I had put on like 30-40 pounds of just like muscle, which if you saw me growing up, I was like 170 pounds, like soaking wet, and was like 6'1 and a half, 6'2 essentially. And I was a twig, bro. So I was like super thin. And then I had people that hadn't seen me for like a super long ass time, and then they saw me like 4 or 5 years later, and they're like, "Bro, what?" And I didn't really post anything. I didn't post any like, "Here's my gym journey," nothing. Like I just was like grinding in silence, and so like most of my working out was at home. But like I used to YouTube a lot of videos and stuff like that to try to like make sure I was doing proper technique. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of like good foundation, because even whenever I was like in high school, it was like important, because I like was always working, like I wasn't like ego lifting, so I was always just trying to do like good form so that I wasn't injuring myself. So maybe my tip would be is like focus on form and make sure that you're not like ego lifting and trying to like get injured, because that's one thing is like, yeah, you're gonna put on all these plates on there, but it's gonna like have terrible form, and you're gonna ultimately end up hurting yourself. And so that kind of, I guess, goes back to your like, don't be afraid to ask, but like make sure that you're trying to learn proper form to hopefully avoid injury. And since your boy's in his early 30s at this point, some of the stuff, I don't know if it's come back to haunt me, but it's definitely one of those things where you just want to make sure that you're doing the right things early, so that you don't have to pay for them later down the road.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. That's a great tip. And I would say, to add to that, like lifting is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? Like even getting in shape, like it takes time, right? It takes a long time before you notice the results. And a lot of people, it's so interesting to me. So like I will tell people all the time, it's more important to be dedicated than motivated, and have discipline. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a discipline. Discipline's yeah, and you'll see it like on all the things is like, motivation will wane, but if you are disciplined and you create like a routine, it's easier for you to make sure that you don't fall off the wagon where all of a sudden you like aren't going ever.
Yes. So to that point, like discipline is super important. So like use that motivation to build your discipline, and that'll take you a long way. Like I can't stress enough like how consistency and discipline are vital to getting you into a routine, to where eventually you get to the point, and I've always told this and I never believed it, but you get to the point where you feel guilty for not going to the gym. Mm-hmm. Now, is it healthy? Is that a healthy mental state?
It really
I don't know.
It really, you do get to the point. Like I'm far from that. At this point I've fallen off the wagon, but like I remember, I was going like 5-6 times a week, and if I missed, I felt so mad at myself. I was like beating myself up. I'm trying to do workouts at like 12 o'clock, just trying to grind it, just because I'm like, I missed my workout for whatever. And so that's big, is making sure that you're consistent with it. And maybe to add on to that is just also like making sure that you're resting and recuperating, because that was one of the things that I kind of didn't do. Was I was like working out every day there for a while, like every single day, and probably wasn't giving, like, especially depending on what you're going for. Like, are you going for, that hypertrophy look where you're bigger, bulky, or you have like those kind of bigger muscles? Or are you going for like a leaned out look? And so like one of the things that I wasn't getting enough rest in there, and I maybe wasn't eating appropriately to kind of compensate for that.
Diet is super important. That's another tip I would give. Like, you can go to the gym all you want, but if you don't make adjustments to your diet, I don't know what your goals are. You're trying to lose weight, you're trying to put on weight, whatever it is, diet is the most important part. So like if you're going to the gym nonstop, you're seeing results in the gym, right? You're putting on weight, Your lifts are getting heavier and stuff. If you're not seeing the results on your body, I'm gonna say 90% chance it's your diet. I mean, speak with your doctor, talk to a dietitian.
And I'm sure it depends on your goals. You know, are you trying to lean out? Are you trying to bulk up? Are you trying to? So maybe even if you can, you know, there's lots of resources online, but you're right. Like if you could get a dietitian or some type of nutritionist, that'd be like, okay, well, here are your, you know, here are your calorie goals. Here are your protein goals. You know, I'm trying to gain weight. I'm trying to lose weight. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not a dietitian. So.
neither am I, man. Like I'm still have my days where I'm figuring it out, and I'm still learning. You know, I try to learn something new every day when I get to the gym. You know, just certain workouts that my body responds better to, or I seem to have more success building off of that. So it's always a learning game. And that's the one thing. That's another tip that I would give someone. Like, don't ever feel like you've ever gotten to a point where you've learned everything.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna find, like, every day or every time you try something new, or like even if you've been doing something for a while and you feel like, man, I can't seem to get you plateau or whatever. That's an opportunity for you to learn something new, right? You gotta like figure out, okay, what do I gotta change now to get me to that next step? But yeah, as like a newbie going to the gym, like some things I wish I knew. Like I said, don't be afraid to ask for help.
I have the 5, so I'm going to tell you the 5 that I've actually written down while we're going. So
yeah,
don't be afraid to ask for help is 1. Number 2, make sure you're learning proper form or technique. Number 3 is be patient and focus on being disciplined and consistent. 4, consistent. Man, that was a tongue twister there for me. Consistent. Number 4, prioritize rest, and then number 5, identify the diet for your ultimate goals. So
yes,
that's
perfect.
Those would be our 5 basics.
Fat five for getting into the gym, getting into shape.
There you go.
And getting that bod that you want, the revenge bod, the summer bod, the hot girl bod, the hot guy bod, whatever you want. Yeah, you know what I mean? If you're trying to get a hot girl summer going,
there you go.
Trying to get a hot guy summer, whatever it is you're trying to do, you know? Like, it all starts somewhere. Don't be afraid to start. But the most important part is you're starting. Yeah. You're getting in there. And
kudos to you guys that are already like hitting it early, because you guys are going to hopefully beat the rush. Heck, you guys are going to be the ones being like, you see these people? You see these people coming in here?
Yes, you're gonna be part of the me crew. That's like, do you see all these in here right now? And don't get me wrong, like I'm never mad about new faces. It's just as like when you go consistently, it's more
so like just a resource availability. You're like, yo, I'm trying to get in and out. Yes. No, I got you, man.
Yeah, I got you. I'm never mad about anyone new. Okay, so I will have don'ts for newbies. Okay. Be patient, man. Like, it takes time. Like, if you don't be that person that's hounding a machine, trying to get it the minute someone gets off. My best advice, and this is just me speaking because like I know I take some of my time on machines because I've been at the gym going for so long that I learned to do multiple exercises in certain areas. So sometimes I stay longer on a machine than most people. But ask me, right? Ask me how much longer I have or something. Be nice about it. I'll be like, look, man, I have this long. I can come find you when I'm done, and this way you get it. Don't be that person that stands over the top of someone and hounds him and like keeps asking, because like then I'm gonna tell you right now, just as an experienced person, no joke, we'll take longer, and it's not because we're. Not because we want.
Don't be rushing me, man.
Yeah, we don't want to discourage you or anything like that, but it's more so because it's like the gym is a place for peace, and if you with my peace at the gym, I'm gonna like get annoyed. And that's a one thing that I'll tell anyone. Try not to like mess with anyone's peace. Right? Re-racking your weights is another free tip, dude.
Oh,
like,
okay. So
this goes for everyone, okay? Not even people that have been going to the gym. Rack your weights, man. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to take the plate, put it back where it goes. It tells you what size of weight needs to go, where they should go. You know where you got it from. Don't be that lazy motherfucker that leaves it.
Bro, don't be making me bleep out the whole.
I'm sorry, dude. This is just something that like
there's mods grind my gears.
Pet peeve.
Yeah, there's your pet peeve. I have too many. We don't want to start a segment like that. It'll be a negative.
But like for me, the weights says a lot about how you approach the gym, though, because you don't really notice this, but like if you take the time to put the weights back and everything, that's because you respect the space, right? And you respect it for whoever's coming next.
And maybe it's one of those things that they're so new that they don't know. So hey guys, if you're new, that's one of the tips that Mod says is trying to make sure that you're re-racking your weights, you're putting your weights away. That's a simple thing.
I'm sorry. I was referring to the people that that go all the time.
Yeah, but for the new people,
still don't rack their weights.
There you go. For new people, hey man, that's expected. But yeah, I used to get kind of a little bit frustrated when I'd be like, yo, bro, you just did all these weight and you just left them there. And maybe they're coming back to them, but I know it was one of my pet peeves too.
No, I've seen some crazy stuff, man. Like they'll leave. They just like leave them thrown there and they walk away and they're like, well, I put the bar back where I got it from.
So that's my we're gonna we'll come up with some we'll do some do nots I think at our next pod, so we have a couple of them written
in all reality though, for real, like it just come to the gym, man, and get yourself better. It helps your mental, it helps your physical. You know, if you're in a down place in your life, it can really be like a saving grace. And I will say this, like the gym, and I no joke about this, like the gym saved my life, dude. Like for real. Like there was a point in my life where like it was getting pretty bad, and if it weren't for me getting in shape and finding that like happy safe space, you know, the gym wasn't the only thing, but it was a main like I would say it was probably about 70% of the work that I did mentally. It happened because of the gym, and like
therapeutic for sure. Yeah. It's definitely therapeutic.
Sometimes you don't always feel good inside, you know, and you can go have a good workout and it'll change your whole
it's good
day.
It does a lot for dopamine. It does a lot of things chemically that helps you, you know, feel more confident in yourself and put you in a better mood. So lots of benefits. Your Cowboys just picked off they about to do a pick six on these guys. Oh, nope. Your own teammate knocked him out of bounds. Oh, man. All right, guys. Okay, so I got two more other things. We got a basketball kind of touch base, and then we have somewhat not controversial topic, but a relationship segment. What do you want to do? We can take a break, too. We can take a 2-minute break to get water, bathroom, whatever.
Yeah, let's
all right.
Let's take a quick break so I can get some water.
Quick break. All right, guys. See you in a bit.
All right, we're back. We're going to get some clapping going.
Let's get it, dude.
I'm having too much fun with this. Shout out this application.
What's the name of the app, bro?
Riverside, man. Riverside. This is some crazy ass.
FM is. You know what? We're going to throw a shout out to this for sure in terms of being like, yo, if you guys want to sponsor us, cool. But we wouldn't have even been able to do this damn remote pod without this, and Mod happened to come across it, dude. And this app has been working phenomenally.
Shout out Riverside.
You're the real MVP today.
It's been pretty dope, and we're barely tapping the potential of this, but good things to come because of Riverside.
So fire thing that we may have to do, or we can probably consider doing, is if we bring on another guest, which I have one in mind, and he's as much of a techie head as I am, and I think you'll and he's just a great convo. So hopefully we get to bring him in on our next pod. I need to see what his availability is, and hopefully we can get him before this before the holidays, because he might have some holiday recommendations.
I thought you were about to call him in right now. I was like, oh shit.
Oh no, I needed to give him a heads up. We probably could have, since we did this one remote too, but I feel like the vibe wouldn't have been the same, because I think one of the comments or praises that we happen to get from our boy Ali was we're able to feed off each other for the conversation. So I don't know if it'll quite come across the same way.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so coming into our next segment, this is kind of one that's in the lost files, but we're gonna bring it back, and we're gonna kind of talk about it, since we got some good stretch of time to kind of go over this. So the conversation is social media destroying modern day relationships? Um, I'll let you take the floor, man. What do you think?
So I think it depends on. I don't want to say it's destroying, but it's made everyone available, whether you're in a relationship or not. I think how your significant other handles social media is a bigger factor.
It's huge.
I think that's a conversation that you need to have with your significant other, is like
How they navigate it,
here,
and maybe some
here's my
ground rules.
example. So there's like this couple, and this, I'm glad that we brought this back up. There's this couple that, I can't remember his name. I'll see if we can get his name. We can post an image of him, and we'll tag his like thing. But him and his girl, like they're always talking about guys that have slid into her DMs, like famous athletes and stuff like that. For example, they mentioned like Dak Prescott had slid into her DMs. Shout out Dak Prescott. And so it's just interesting how they handle it, right? But it's like basically it's what it is. Sometimes is she'll post something, she'll tag the athlete. She's a very attractive girl, obviously, so they're sliding in her DMs, and she's like showing it off, and then he's just like kind of laughing about it, right? I don't think that's cool, right? I wouldn't want my girl hoping to get DMs so she can post, like, we can talk about this and chop it up, because there's gonna be a time where it's a DM where she ain't gonna tell you about that shit, and
It's like
she's
playing
just gonna
with
keep
fire,
it to
man.
herself.
They're playing with fire.
It really is, and I don't give a shit how like
Cool.
well you think you
Yeah.
are. Like there's always someone, man, and I'm not saying like she's not a trustworthy person. I don't know the dynamics in their relationship, but it's life, man, and people are always looking for that grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, it's kind of,
And
it's just temptation.
it's
It's like constant temptation. You could have somebody
Right.
that's going to say no 9 out of 10 times, but then there's that 10th out of 10 time, and it only takes one to completely ruin a relationship. So
yeah, if you feel cool, if they feel cool about it, right, and that's how they work and that's how they operate, and he has his trust in her. But I mean, he's got options too, right? So I think that's kind of where he's coming from, in that like, all right, if you think you got options, like, you know what I mean? So they have a very different dynamic than normal people.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like normal people, this happens to normal people as well, just not on that same level, right?
Right.
Like, so that's why for me, I think it's been very like, I just don't have the same. I think you got to be very careful, right? Like, we talk about this all the time. Like you said, you're playing with fire. So
Yeah, I liked how you said that, and that's kind of one of the things that I remember mentioning on that first time. The first time we talked about this is, there's this appearance of, I think the one thing that I remember you saying a lot was in terms of people trying to make it appear as if the relationship is perfect, even though it may not always be perfect.
Yeah.
And then also, just like you said, this level of availability. And so I kind of mentioned this, but like back in the day, you went and had a relationship, you were with your significant other, you had a family, you had kids, and it was pretty much you, and then your like close circle. Like social media has pretty much made like everybody available. You're gonna have people that are reaching out to you. Maybe back in the day they'd be like, all right, I had my kids, my wife, my whatever, and that was their life, and they went about their business. And now it's just like, oh, there's whatever your classmate from 20 years ago now reaching out to you, and it's like a completely. So it's just kind of one of those things that people can come out of the woodwork and kind of be like, oh, I wonder what Mario was up to. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and then you may be happy as a clam, going about your business, and then there's this random person coming out of the woodwork, and they can see that you're happy, and so it's just like this weird thing where it's just everybody's accessible, and it's and it could be like very sly. They're sliding into people's DMs, and then hopefully you have a good girl, and she happens to tell you that, hey, this guy's trying to hit on me, but there's some girls that aren't as astute or aware of that, and they always are thinking that they're just friends, or that they're that their intentions are different, and it really just comes down to intentions. What's the purpose of them reaching out? And so it's just one of those things. I know that it's something that can get very tricky very quickly.
Yeah, I would say the very important conversation to have with your significant other, if it's a problem for you, right? Like, if you have issues with the way they handle themselves on social media, or you don't like what they're doing, talk to them, right? That's an easy conversation to have. And it's not always the most fun conversation, but it's definitely something that needs to be had if you have issues with how they like act on social media, right? Like if they pretend to be single, or they appear to act like if they do things that like a single person would do, and like that's a very great line, right? But I mean, I'm not saying, and here's my thing. I have a lot of respect for people who keep their relationships private, keep it to themselves. They don't post it on social media. To me, that's the way I like to operate. I like that. If you post happy moments, that's cool, right? Just be very aware of, like, you know, if you don't have a good home, and this is what we said
we talked about this last time, so we had a little bit differing in opinions on this. So go ahead, and then I'll give my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we were saying if things ain't happy at home, you know, there's a reason probably why you ain't gonna get posted,
right?
And I was saying, you know, I think if you are with someone and you've been with them for a long time, and they feel like, and this is how we were different in this, but I feel different about this now, but like,
I can give my take.
I went with it.
Yeah, I can give my take. So
I'll give you mine real quick, because I'll give it short, because I was like just trying to summarize it, because we talked about it a lot last time, but the summarization of it was, if you've been with someone for a really long time and things are good at home, and you ask your person to post you, right? Things are the big thing was being things are good at home, right? And you're wondering why you haven't been posted for a while or whatever, and like they tended to normally post you and they stopped, and you think things are good at home. What I had said was, you got issues. There's something that's not coming up, or there's a reason you haven't been posted, and it needs to be addressed, and that's a conversation that needs to be had. And then that's when you came in and you said, you know, I don't gotta post anybody. I don't really post as it is, and then you can go ahead and give your take. Yeah. But that was my thing, right? Like, it was, as long as things are good at home, and if you think things are good at home, and then something like this comes up, that's a conversation that needs to be had. Like, but you go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like take away your, like, the way we kind of went at it, but I was just like,
yeah, no,
it's very
I get where you're coming from in terms of, like, I think the thing that you had mentioned during your past relationship was, hey, I thought we were good, like we were good. You were under the impression that things were good, and then that person wasn't posting you, and so you took offense to that because you're like, hey, I thought, like, what's going on? Like, we're doing all these things, you know, and then I guess but that was, you were under the impression that things were good. So that was like that was the linchpin of that conversation, because like me,
and that's
like, for instance, I tend to not post anything. Like I really, especially like very early on in relationships, don't really post anything, because I'm you know, other than this podcast, which has made me less of a private person, I would say that I'm usually a pretty private person. People don't know, you know, where I'm working at and stuff like that. And I try to, you know, most people don't even know what I do if they're not friends with me. So, so that's kind of the thing, is I just kind of try to minimize what other people know about me. And then this podcast happened, and then that's not the case necessarily. But like, I don't like to necessarily post. I wouldn't post what people like. I never wanted to post somebody and then something go bad, and then I have to take down the post, and then it's like people looking at them like, oh, I guess that didn't work out for them. And for me, it was like, I'm better off not posting anything, because half the time, you know, I whenever I'm posting, like whenever I'm posting whoever I'm with, or I'm posting something, like that's when people would come out the woodwork. It's like it would be like freaking a barren wasteland in times of when, you know, I'm not with somebody in it. But as soon as I post something when I'm with somebody, then that's when I used to get like more female attention from, but even though they could see that I was in a relationship. And so that was kind of interesting, but, I'm just in the camp of, I usually don't really post anything, unless I really want to, and unless I'm like in a very stable, very healthy relationship. But if it's a rocky relationship, I'm in the camp of, you're likely not going to get posted, because there's no reason for me to post you just to have to take you down in a couple of days.
So I guess so I can add to what you said, right, about the last relationship. And you're right. Like, I didn't realize something was wrong until
I think
I
that's how
realized,
you
it's
kind of
okay.
figured that out, though. It was like one of the
Right, but here was like the way that it got there. And to your point, it was different than what you said, because you said you don't post anything at all anyway, right?
yeah, until this
She was
podcast.
posting all the time.
See,
She
that
was-
was the wild thing.
Yeah,
That was the wild thing.
And so I was like, you're gonna post all the time, and I'm not gonna be a part of the happy posts and stuff like that. That's when you have to ask those questions. And so again, that was on me, right? I have a whole different opinion on social media now. Like, I like to be more low key, like, and I've taken the approach that you have because it's just worked better for my life.
By the way, Mario was
until,
off of social media for like 2 years, and I essentially like
almost 3 years.
He
completely.
essentially had to get back on because we did this podcast. So I'm sorry. I feel like I'm messing with your peace with having to bring you back into this, but
it's cool, man. Like I think I'm not mad about it.
You're pretty healthy in terms of the way that you interact with it too, though. Like, I've done things to, maybe that's a topic that we can do another time, is like ways to like
remove yourself.
Yeah, remove or like detox from social media, and like how to go about it. And I do little things so that I'm, I would find myself just like opening stuff, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm opening this app. I don't even want to look in here, and it's like I'm like scrolling mindlessly through it. And so there's steps that I had to take to try to do that, and maybe that should be a topic for another time, because that's like there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, no, 100%. But like, getting back to like the social media thing and like kind of my last relationship, I was pretty naive though, and like in like the way I handled that, because it doesn't matter what other people see, right? It matters what's going on at home, right?
That's
so,
what
like, my approach now.
That's what's most important to me. Like, I don't need us to be posted on there for whatever's sake. Like, that's not going to make me feel any better.
Right. And so my approach now is a lot different. Like, I don't give a fuck about social media anymore. Like, even though I post on there and I've been posting, it's more so because like I want our podcast to get some relevance. I figured I'm doing a lot more video work. I might as well get my name out there and try to get my video work seen. But in terms of like my private life and stuff like that, like I don't need that out there. Like, I don't care if anyone knows anything that's going on with me. I just, at the time, mentally, I thought it was important that people knew you were with someone, right? When in reality, again, like the whole social media thing, it gave me this perception that like, oh, if you ain't posting your girl and you and your girl don't look good, do you even really have a relationship? And then like, I didn't really stop to think about like how I should have been more focused on like, were things even good with us in general to even consider wanting it posted, right? Like, because now in reality, when I think about the situation, I wouldn't even wanted to post you know what I mean?
Right.
I was there like upset because I wasn't getting posted, but like looking back on it, like I wouldn't have wanted to post it either.
Right.
Like it wasn't healthy. Like it wasn't in a good spot, and I was more worried about how it looked to other people versus like what was going on.
The reality.
And so just and that's growth, man, and that's where it comes from. And so like that's why I think social media is for me is such a negative towards relationships, because it does a lot more harm than good. And you just got to be very careful. Like I said, have those conversations with your significant other. If you feel like something's going on, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Nate. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm of the mindset like if you're worried about someone, your partner, for example, cheating through social media, I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna do it
regardless.
If they're gonna cheat,
they're gonna do it regardless,
right? So you gotta have that trust in your partner, and if you don't have that comfort with your partner, then you probably need to. That's a deeper conversation, and it's not just a social media conversation. So have those conversations. I would say you're never gonna stop someone from doing something. So telling them they can't be on social media, or they can't be posting certain things. Yeah. Maybe just say like, hey, that makes me uncomfortable
for X, Y, Z. This makes me feel like this, and And they can choose to respect that. They can choose not to respect that. I think that's
exactly.
And so, I think those are tough conversations in terms of like how people navigate it.
Right.
And you can, obviously let your partner know, hey, I feel this way about this certain thing, or when you do this on social media, it makes me feel like this. There's a degree of that, because sometimes, unfortunately, I think we're both aware of a couple of people that, they feel a certain way about a certain thing, but then they've also created their own narrative to situations that aren't there, or they're unaware of narratives that are there, and then
And I would say too, like, there's nothing wrong with being friendly, but y for example, right? You talk to someone on social media, and there's someone that you've known forever. You know the boyfriend, you know the girlfriend. Like having a conversation, I don't think there's anything wrong with
See,
that, right?
I'm 100%. I agree with you because like there's so many times where we have so many friends that are just girls, and we have like they're just platonic friends, and there's no interest. But we've been friends for such a long time. They have a boyfriend. You know, you were seeing somebody, and like it's just like, hey, how's it going? Oh, commenting on this. Like I think that's the one thing that has kind of been tough for me because I'm usually pretty friendly. Like I'm a pretty friendly guy. And so then if I have somebody that's like, oh, you can't interact with them, you can't do this. And then I'm like, well, you know, we're just friends. Like they have their own, you know, life and stuff like that. But like we're just having a topic about football or whatever. And it's always like there's a line that you don't need to cross. You're not trying to cross. There's no lines that are crossing.
Trust.
Yeah, and so that's been like the relationships that have worked well for me have always been the ones that they're built on trust, but there's also a level of you know. I don't even know how to say this. Like, there's just, I mean, it's tough. They are under this understanding that I'm navigating it with the best interest of both parties of my relationship as well as their relationship. I'm not trying to get them in trouble.
Right. And I would even say too, like, let's say for example, right, you're a girl and you have a friend that talks to you through Instagram. Your boyfriend, for example, he doesn't like it, right? It says it makes him uncomfortable. He thinks the dude has negative intentions, right? As a girl, and if you respect your partner, I think that's when you set that line with that other person and be like, hey, I just want to let you know my boyfriend's not comfortable with our conversations, so just to respect him, we you know I'm gonna stop having these conversations with you, right? That would
be a healthy response to that.
That is a healthy response and a healthy relationship, right? Now, if someone, and let's say you're a girl again, right? You post a picture, it's by yourself, and someone's throwing a bunch of like
hard eyes,
fire symbols, hard eyes.
Okay,
you know what it is.
Oh.
You know what it is, right? And so I would just say be very careful. Same for guys too, right? Be very careful because that's just might as well slide in the DM and say it was good,
bro. So but they're essentially doing that. Like, so the in the past, the things that like that's been an issue in terms of if there's that situation where if the person I'm with doesn't know how to navigate that, like they're you know they're getting people sending them stuff. Like they're getting people sending them stuff, heart eyes, fire emojis, whatever, but you're liking them or you're commenting on them or you're saying thank you. Like you're acknowledging them, but you're also kind of encouraging continued behavior, which I don't think is healthy for your guys' relationship. And that's been in the past I've had issues with that.
I'm glad you picked up where I was going with that, because where I was going with that is like that's one of those situations where like if you're dating attractive people, you have to understand that's part of what comes with dating attractive people, right? Especially with social media. So you should be comfortable enough with yourself and your partner to know she's not gonna respond to that. Oh, it's whatever. Like, just thirsty ass dudes.
Right. There's always gonna be. There's always gonna be. But it's really it's just your response.
You don't even have to be attractive.
Bro, well, you're attracted to
exactly,
everybody. It's to each their own. But
right. Well, I'm just saying. But like, that's what social media has done. So like, to your point, the way you handle those responses and those interactions, that can do a lot for a relationship. Like, even if you just like ignore it
or block them or
show your partner and you're like, you show your partner and you're like, hey, look who fired in my stuff. You know what I mean? So those are those kind of like those conversations. That's why I said like communication is so important, especially with social media. So if it's an issue for you guys, have those conversations. If you're unaware of like how you should handle something on social media, I don't know, right? I don't have all the answers. All I'm saying is just from speaking from experience, and Nate knows this as well. Like, if you don't communicate that stuff with your partner, or if you don't listen to your partner, and you know. Those are big conversations.
Those are big. Media, those are huge, dude. Those are like those are massive conversations, and how you navigate them,
Right.
how you're going to respond to them, what the expectation
Right.
is. And those are probably things in terms of if you're trying to have a healthy relationship is just asking, how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts on this?
Right.
Because
I'm never, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
go
off.
ahead.
Go ahead, Nate. I was just going to say, like, I've never been mad about the person I'm with getting attention or someone sliding in their DMs or whatever. It's the way that they've responded or not responded or left the door open for the possibility of something more.
That's the bigger thing. That's the bigger thing.
Depending on what was said, right, or depending on
huge.
what it was, those are always my things. Is like, it comes with dating attractive people. It really does. Like, you just got to be confident in yourself to know, like, oh, I know what I bring to the table. Right. But it's the response from your partner that can have a big effect. And so that's why with everyone's being available as they are on social media.
And it's because, like, back in the day, if somebody's going to come hit on your girl, they're going to have to come and do it face to face, or they're going to have to get her phone number.
Yes.
Which would have been at least even in our early days, like let's say 20 years ago, let's say 80s, 90s, you're going to have to go up to that girl and be like, hey, I think you're attractive and yada, yada, yada. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Even our early days, our high school, whatever, you're still gonna have to get the girl's phone number or something to like tell her that, hey, I'm interested in you, whatever. Bro, nowadays, it doesn't even, you're friends with them on social media, which can be a very harmless thing. Like, people are like, oh yeah, I know so and so, cool, whatever, friends. And then, like, for instance, like, these girls can get friends with the dude, and then next thing you know, they're in the girl's DMs, like, essentially, like, they're giving her attention. They're able to notify her, hey, I'm interested in you. And it's up to that girl to, do whatever with that information. But that's a much more accessible thing versus 80s, 90s, even, before that, you had to go do it up front, face to face. This is a much more low commitment thing, but it's almost like fishing. They're throwing their line in there, and they might get a bite depending on your response to it. So,
and I think that's kind of like one of the reasons why, like, I'm so frustrated with social media. It's giving people this idea of, like, the grass is always greener.
Yeah,
type of approach.
I told you that last time.
And don't get me wrong.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I've been a victim of it too, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm above all of this. Like, it's happened to me too, but like, and it's giving people this idea, I think, that relationships shouldn't be hard sometimes. Like, sometimes relationships are tough, man. They take work. So if you think you're just gonna, this dude slid in my DMs and he seemed like he's easy going, and like, it's not like that. Like, it shit takes work.
Well, it's crazy too, because there's also this thing where people see other people's relationship. Like, let's, for instance, somebody can be looking at somebody's relationship and be like, I want to be with that person. Look how amazing that seems to look. Yeah. And you don't know what the person has to do to make the grass that green, but you're gonna try to sign up for it, or you know what I mean? It's you just don't know. You just don't know what goes on. So.
That's a great way to put that. You don't know what they're doing for their grass to be that fucking green.
Yeah, man.
And, again, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not perfect.
No,
I'm just
I think
you what I know.
Yeah, we're just bringing it. I don't think, guys, we're not trying to give anybody answers. We're just trying to talk about, I just interesting topic in terms of how people.
I'm just gonna tell you,
feel
man. If you think you can control someone, or like, you think just by blocking them or telling them not to do things on social media, it's not gonna work, man. So just have an honest conversation, be open with each other, and it'll help you get through the craziness that is social media nowadays and how it affects our relationships. Because this shit is not easy. It's just another thing to worry about.
I'm gonna give you a hot take, bro. I'm gonna give you a hot take. When it gets to that time when I'm finally gonna probably marry somebody, I'm going to get rid of my social media. I might have it for whatever the work-related thing is, or like if we're still doing this podcast whenever that time comes. But like, unless it's family, like very close friends or like relatives, I probably won't be on social media at that point, because I just think that once you're able to disconnect, you're able to live in your bubble. I think you're going to live a happier bubble, because you're not looking at, you're not getting this. You're not getting all this. Look at this person and look at this person and look at, I mean, it I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah, you've already seen me do it. So like, I mean, like, I'm in the same boat with you. Like, I'm literally like, when I get to that point,
bro,
man,
I feel
I'm
like
just gonna take
yeah, dude, for the last 2 years, I feel like you've been a
just like
happier
3.
dude.
It was a
Yeah,
little,
like it's low stress, not even have to worry about it, man. So
you know what's crazy is like I'll admit this right now. Like the little bit that I have been on it gives me anxiety, dude. Like it really does, because I don't know what it is. Like it's this weird dynamic that social media plays with you, like where it makes you think you need more, right? And you see, again, everyone only posts like the good things about what's going on. They don't, obviously no one's gonna post the bad shit. So like you see all these people going out and doing things, and I'm content being at home. But for some reason, when I see social media, I'm like, damn, I need to go out and do something like all these other people. And I'm like, then I remember, I'm like, no, I don't, because I'm so happy. So
I think you're at peace, bro. And I will tell you that that's big. Like and even steps that I've taken I don't, so a few things just as kind of like things that I've done to like minimize my activity on social media prior to this podcast was I don't have any of the notifications on. Like I don't have any of the notifications on for stuff.
Yeah.
And then I try to like, I don't have, first of all, none of the social media apps are on my front page. And so, like, I don't want to see them. I don't want to, like, swipe. Because I'd swipe open up an app before I even realized I had done it before. Like, that's one of the things that I had seen, like, online where it's like, hey, delete them. Move them off to your homepage. Get rid of the notifications. Like, because it's, like, this weird... There's literally psychology and, like, actual chemistry... brain chemistry that's going on with the way that those apps work that try to get you hooked. They talk about it with TikTok.
That's why they
talk about
swipe it.
Yeah, man. Yep. They got all this stuff, and so it's one of those things where just trying to have better tech. Habits. Social hygiene is like been a huge priority for me, and so
we could talk about that. Next podcast.
Let's talk about that. That'll be something interesting.
So I'll give you a quick tip of mine. That's how that.
Oh yeah.
Now that I got back on, that doesn't make. So I don't have the app on my phone. Mm-hmm. I have to go through the browser, and when I sign in through the browser, it makes me put in my password again every single time, and then it makes me go through all these steps to where I'm like annoyed by the time I even get on. And then in order to even post videos, I have to download the app, re-put my password back in, agree to all the stupid notifications and privacy settings, all this stuff. Give it basically like from scratch. Upload the video, and then by the end of it, I'm like, I'm done with this, and I delete it right then and there. And then that's how it keeps me from, like, I posted videos on Friday. I haven't been on Instagram since I posted those videos. So
that's good. I like that. So you could do step down approaches, and that was one of the things I had seen online too, is doing like it in a stepwise process. So I had done it so that I only had like those summary notifications. So then like, either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, I would get notified like, hey, this is what happened during then. And then I wouldn't look the rest of the day. And then it got to the point where I'm like, I don't even need it. I don't even want it popping up. I don't want to see that there's stuff waiting for me. Like, I'll deal if I happen to think about it whenever I'm super free, I'll look. And I like that idea. Maybe I'll get to the point where I'll just delete them.
I will say, like, it's kind of like, it sounds stupid, but it's kind of like a drug, right? Like at first it's kind of hard, and you're like, you don't know what to do. You're like, oh, I'm on my phone, I should be checking social media. And then after a while, you don't even remember, like I just go to YouTube, find something on YouTube, and I watch a video, and that kind of takes up my time on my phone.
That's my only thing that I won't be able to get rid of is YouTube. I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm on there way too. I'm like,
never getting rid of YouTube.
Dude, I'm watching tech videos all day long, bro. I got the premium YouTube. I ain't listening to no ads or nothing.
Ads. That was another thing that I did that helped a lot. You know what was crazy? The first time I had a conversation with someone, and they mentioned to me they hadn't seen me on social media, and they like were wondering what I was up to. That's when I knew I was like, I'm doing pretty good at this, because it's not often, because everyone's so available, again, like we talked about, and everyone posts. I don't know, you have your ins and outs. You have people that don't post, and then people that post a lot. But for the most part, like, even people who don't post a lot, but they post a lot on their story, it still gives people insight to your life, right? Mm-hmm. So the first time I had someone generally ask me, like, what have you been up to, man? I haven't seen you post anything, or I haven't seen you on, like, that was kind of like my first, like, oh man, like, I actually am doing a pretty good job of just sticking to myself, and not that I wanted to remove myself from everyone, but it actually is kind of nice, going somewhere and people have no idea what you've been up to, and that's it's just nice. It's nice to have a conversation when okay. So side story, real quick. I went on a date with this girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I couldn't stalk you." She had no idea. This was the first time she'd ever been
like she was going in blind. She's going into that.
Exactly, and that's what she said. She's like, "This is technically like the first, like this is almost like a blind date." She's like, "I've never actually been on a date with someone where I knew absolutely nothing about them."
Super blind.
And it was cool, man. Like we learned a lot about each other. It was cool. We had a good time. It was fun. But that was when I knew I was like, all right, cool. I like this. Like I like people not being able to know anything about me. So it was just cool that she wasn't able to just like go stalk me and then get an idea of who I was, because like I'm a way different person than the last actual post that didn't have to do with the podcast or the video. Yeah. Like if you go look, because if you go look at my Instagram,
I think my last actual post, like actual post, is from like 2-3 years ago. Like I don't think I posted anything, and like only recently started posting stories just because of our pod, but like it'd been a really long time.
I think the last thing I posted was me fishing, and I don't remember what year it was from, but I want to say it was 2019. It was a 2019 post. But
yeah, man. Oh my.
A lot. Yeah, pull it up. Pull it. A lot has happened. I'm such a different. Oh, that's right. I'm such a different person than when I posted that, and it's just crazy because now like I remember this, and that's another thing that happens, Nate. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, like when you remove yourself, like I used to, and like, but you're already kind of like this because you don't like to post. But I remember when something cool used to happen to me, I used to be like, damn, I can't wait to share this on Instagram. And
growing up, like early 2000s, bro, that was like no joke. Like that was like, I'm not early 2000s, but like whenever I was in high school or early college, like bro, I couldn't wait to post it. And then the later, by the time I got into like my graduate school, I was still kind of like, oh, I want to post this, or I want to post this, or I want to. And even now, it's like, I don't really post anything.
Yeah,
I know, but I guess I'm also like an older dude at this point. So
yeah, I don't get any enjoyment, and my mind's changed completely. Like I have a ton of pictures on my phone that are like probably would do really well on social media, but like I'm like, why? Like those are my memories, right? Those are for me. And you know what I noticed I started doing too? I stopped taking videos in moments. Like, so for example, like, when you go to concerts and stuff,
that's big, dude.
I used to spend a lot more time watching the concert through my phone.
Yes, dude. Being present.
Or like now,
like, I'm going to add that to our talk. I'm going to add that to our next talk, dude. Being present, bro.
Always in the moment. Because like, especially like now that I have my camera and stuff, and I'm obviously doing video and stuff like that. But I'm always in the moment. Like there's never a time where I'm like, I need to record this and pull my phone out. I just live in it, and then it's been big, man. And don't get me wrong, there's still times where I whip out my phone and I'll take it, but it's not because I want to post it on social media. It's just a quick little clip for me to be like, damn, this was crazy.
I think it's still I want to capture it too, but I capture it just to keep for myself. Like now, like it's not like I'm capturing it to like post on something. It's usually I'm capturing it just so I'm like, I'm gonna like remember this, like just so I can remember the memory, but I'm not recording the whole thing. I'm like trying to experience it in that moment. That's true.
Yeah, and what's crazy? There'll be times where like at events and we'll be with friends or whatever. Like I remember the last concert I went to, and I was asking the people I was with, I was like, did you guys see what just happened? They don't even see what happened because they're so worried about how the video works on their phone. They miss all and it's just like, that's, it's nice. It's nice. I enjoy it. I would recommend it to anyone, not only just for relationships, but for your life. But give it a shot, man. See what happens. Yeah. It's cool.
All right, Panda. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into our last topic, which is basketball. So those of you who aren't big basketball fans, you might want to skip this next one. But we'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, cool.
All right, guys. Well, back for our last segment. Staying on brand for our talks is we're going to talk a little bit about some NBA news. So a couple things that have kind of come up and they're kind of interesting. So there's 3 topics, and we can see how long we want to talk about each of them. The first one I wanted to talk about was the projected tanking or where the players would end up, at least for the top two specifically. So last time I saw the projection, it was Detroit number one, or would get the number one pick, which would essentially send Wembanyama, which is the 7'5" unicorn, KD 2.0, to the Detroit Pistons, which I feel like would be literally NBA purgatory / hell. Like I literally, like I just,
I don't know, man. They beat the Nuggets the other night.
I guess maybe, and they have like a lot of young players. Like they could be one of those scary
They got
young
Cade.
teams. Yeah, they have Cade. They have that Ivy kid. So who knows? I guess you're right. Maybe they would be that next team. I just feel bad because I don't think those players will want to stay there because of the location. Like they've had trouble recruiting. They can't get people there because of where it's located. So that's kind of tough.
Yeah.
And then essentially the number 2 pick would send, I think it's Scooter Henderson, who is, I think that's his name, the projected number 2, which they played against each other a while back, and it was like a really good game. Let me see if I can get this guy's name. But, yeah, it is Scooter Henderson. So it's essentially them two, and they would send that pick to the number 2, which would be the Spurs. We talked a little bit about, like, what's going on with the Spurs, like how much longer Popovich is going to stay there. Like, I just don't know if this new generation really respects Pop for like his discipline, the way that he coaches, like just the whole package, because I feel like the last generation of people that were like dealing with it was Kawhi, and even Kawhi was like, nah, I'm out. and like, because he was their next generation player, like they would still be relevant if he was still there. And it's one of those things where I don't know if the new generation really resonates with like his teachings, which is unfortunate. But if anybody were to do it, I think it would be like an international player, and it would be crazy if Wembanyama and somehow the Spurs got the first pick, because then I could see where Pop doesn't retire in the next 2 or 3 years. Otherwise, I think he's leaving. What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you. I really think he's kind of at a point where his style of coaching, I don't know if it really hits home nowadays, because it's a lot different. He does really well, right? Like his players love him and everything, but it just seems like, and maybe it's because they haven't had any talent and he's getting an age. Like I just heard like he missed a few games because of a health incident.
Yeah, that's true. He's up there. And I thought it was interesting that they got rid of Murray. DeJounte Murray, the one that went to the Hawks.
That made complete sense to me.
Did it? Because you thought they were tanking? Because you think they're tanking for Wembanyama? Or because of Homeboy's attitude? Because he's been an interesting player. He's had some weird things even in the summer league. And then even during the game the other day, I saw him like tapping dudes on the head. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
I think they looked at it a couple ways, right? I think they looked at it like I would if I was a GM. It's like, you have this all-star player, but is he the all-star player, right? Is he one of those guys that you can build around and make a championship team with? No, right? He's just a really, really good player that's a piece to the puzzle. He's like that second all-star that you need.
He's like that third all-star, like second or third all-star, because even if he's your second best player, I don't think they go anywhere.
Right, we're going to find out with the Hawks this year, because I think he's the second best player now. So, but the point I was trying to make is that like I think they kind of looked at it like that, and they said, okay, we can either continue to try to go the ship that we're at, become a 500 team, hope that we hit in the draft and get lucky, or we can cut our losses right now, add some draft capital, and maybe in 5 years we're better than we are now, and we're like trending upward. And so if you look at like what the Warriors did, that's kind of how they started their rebuild. They traded Monte Ellis away, and they said we're gonna ride with the young kids.
Yeah.
Right.
With Steph.
Right. They did have a little bit of talent already, but if they don't trade Monte Ellis away, I don't think they are where they are now. And Curry doesn't get the chance to become Curry. Like I still think Curry is good, I just don't think he takes the leap that he did as fast as he did. So
it was a gamble for sure because Monte was easily their best player on the team, and Curry had those really bad ankles, and so you didn't know if he was even going to be able to be present for it. So it was kind of a gamble on their part. So that kind of paid out for them, thankfully.
But I think sometimes you got to take those risks, or else you just get stuck in 500 limbo. So for example, like the Grizzlies were in 500 limbo for a long time. Finally decided.
They thankfully tanked or had a bad year, and they
sent people away.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to make that decision as a franchise. Like, are we going to take a couple bad years, really good picks, and then potentially be competing, or are we just gonna? And then to add on to it, you have this amazing talent, like once in a generation talent, along with another guy that could be that same level. You just don't know yet. Bro, and all you got to do is.
Crazy to think that Ja. Now, if you had so I'm just saying because we're talking about once in a generation, we got that Wembayama, and then we got that Scooter Henderson dude, which they think is like a bad dude too. And so like 1-2, right? And I was thinking, I was like, man, that whole thing with Zion and Ja, like if you had a redraft, I don't think Zion goes first, dude.
No, I think this sounds stupid. But when he was coming out, I would have taken Ja over Zion. And just from watching them in college. The reason for me, though, is how big he is. I don't think his legs are going to hold with
which one? Up. Which one? Because I think both of their legs, I think, are suspect.
I think you have to ask. Okay, so. Damn, that's tough. Now that I'm thinking about that, now that you mentioned that, yeah, his athleticism is gonna wear off, and he's gonna have to like adapt.
I hope he's not a Rose 2.0 in that, because I think half of the reason why he's so crazy amazing is that he's literally the most athletic guy on the court at any time. The good thing is that his shots at baseline seems to be better than Rose's was. But the thing that makes him special is that he's literally.
Jumping over everyone.
He's the fastest dude, the most athletic dude. He's jumping. He's trying to dunk over 7-footers. And so as long as he can maintain even some athleticism and doesn't continue to get hurt, then I think he'll continue to be super special. But that's what
I'm gonna have to walk that back, because now that I'm thinking about that, like going down the road, like if Ja gets hurt for some reason, we've seen Zion already get hurt, and he's still managing to.
Bro, he was out a whole year, though.
Yeah, but if you think about potential, like, for what Zion could be without athleticism, he could be kind of like a Zach Randolph, right? He already kind of plays like that. And that's a pretty good piece to have. So I think I'm going to walk that back, and I would say I would still take Zion number 1 just because.
I think they had to take him at 1. Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No. That's all I was gonna say. Is just thinking of like what could happen, worst case versus best case. Worst case with Ja, he loses athleticism, and I don't know what that player looks like. With Zion, I know what it looks like. I've seen it already. Zach Randolph was amazing. I love Zach Randolph. He's one of my favorite players.
So the thing with Zion is, I just don't. He looks like he's taking the steps to stay in the league and actually make through a season, because he came into some of those camps like way overweight, which the way that he plays, he's so explosive, he's so powerful. Your bones, ligaments, things don't hang on, like they just don't last for that long. And if you're not taking care of your body, I still think he's still a little heavier than he probably needs to be. Just because of how much wear and tear is going to go on that body. So he may have a really great run, but it's only going to be like, it's not going to be that long. So that's really, I just want him to have a really solid career, and it really hinges on him getting his body. Look at LeBron, dude. He's had the amazing career that he has because he's literally been one of the most durable players. He was never hurt until just recently, but he's almost 40 at this point.
Yeah, you're right. I just think take away their best attributes right now, which both of them is their athleticism. I think you get a better career out of Zion than you do Ja. Unfortunately,
I think you're right though. I think I think at baseline, because if Ja doesn't have his athleticism, I don't know. I don't know if his shooting is good enough to still have like a really
right.
great
And I really hope that he never loses it. I hope he stays like, even if he does get hurt, he's like Zach LaVine, where you wouldn't even know that this dude.
LaVine, man, he was still ridiculously athletic, but he was literally
still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he stays like that. Or who's another good example of someone who's been super athletic and they're still super athletic?
Even like Vince Carter, whenever his like athleticism was waning,
oh man,
like that was kind of nice because he was a good enough shooter. He stayed in the league longer than I thought he would. Like, but even when he wasn't, like he was still playing, and he was like, I think he made it to the finals with Orlando, I want to say, in those 2010 versus the Lakers.
Was he on that team?
He might have been, or he might have gotten traded like that exact year or whatever. But
wasn't he on the Nets?
He might have gotten traded. That's what I'm saying. It may have been the very next year that happened. But
no, wasn't he on the Nets with Jason Kidd when they played?
I don't know. I thought he was on their team. Let's see.
Look it up. I'm pretty sure he was on the Nets
Orlando.
when it was Jason Kidd.
2009.
I don't think he was on that team. It was Jameer Nelson. It was.
Was he on that squad? Nah, he didn't join them until after. No. Actually, well, let's see.
I'm pretty sure he was on the Nets that went to the finals.
Nah. Well, he did go to the. I mean, I know he went with them in the early 2000s. Like he was on that team, but I was trying to remember if he went twice. I was trying to remember, but yeah, he was still decent even at that time, but he wasn't his same self whenever by the time he got to them.
It's just hard to maintain that athleticism, man. Like it fades on everyone.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated,
bro. Those commercials. I'm like, bro, I don't think you realize LeBron has shown his age more this year, the last 3 years, and I was like, I don't really think this commercial is that appropriate. Don't tell our buddy Ali. Ali's also a big time LeBron fan.
I know.
We should have brought up a LeBron topic with him. We would have had him throwing tables.
Would have got him in his feels.
Yeah, bro. He would have.
I know.
We would have gotten him.
I can't say anything Kobe Bryant related. He's probably gonna see the picture in the background and be like, I knew it. I knew he had a Kobe Bryant picture behind him somewhere.
We'll have to get him back on the pod.
Yeah. So those two. What do we start off talking about? How do we
talked on pop, and then somehow we migrated to here. So one of the other topics I wanted to... Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick. So, again, I understand why they got rid of DeJounte Murray, and I understand why they did it. I can see totally it makes sense, especially with who's coming in. So, I understand the reasoning for it too. It's especially if you have that chance to get that kid, which I think everybody and their mama is going to be trying to get that kid by the end of it. Because what's that saying? You take one step back to move two forward. That's kind of the approach that they're taking right now.
Which if they got that kid looks insanely special.
I would really love for him to go to San Antonio. Like I think
I told you this the other day. I told you that would be the best fit for the kid. Like I really think that he would have a better career, and maybe Pop would stay there a little bit longer.
I'm gonna be real with you though. I think team wise right now though, he goes to Detroit. I think they're a playoff team in a year or two. You're undervaluing how good they are talent wise.
They would become essentially. You know how the Sixers were that really young team that if that one homeboy, what's his name? What's that kid that didn't pan out?
The point guard from Washington.
Yes. Yeah. What's his name right now? Drawing a blank.
Look it up. I can't remember. We came out with Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, let's see. Oh man,
can I beat Google? Let me.
Oh, I hate myself for not remembering it.
Yeah, me too.
2017.
Markelle Fultz.
Oh man, I could not remember
I beat you.
Couldn't remember it. No, yeah. So Markelle Fultz. If he had panned out, bro, I think they win a chip or they're in the finals. Because they had to trade all that nonsense, all that craziness went down because I think that's might have been whenever they finally shipped him off and they got Jimmy Butler and all that. But or let's say they had even drafted Tatum, they're there. Like, dude. So anyways, yeah, like it just like they're so like you're right. If they get that kid and they got that Ivy kid and then they have Cade Cunningham
and everyone's calling this dude a bust. But their point guard, I'm blanking on his name. He lit the Lakers up the other night. He's the lefty from France, I think. He's from overseas. Everyone was calling him a bust because he was a top 10 pick, but he's figuring it out, man. He's starting to get his confidence back, and he's hitting shots, and he's just like, he's finally getting it together. So he's like what they thought was gonna happen with Markel, where he's just gonna slowly and get it come around. And I'm telling you, man, if they somehow end up with him, I would say watch out for the Pistons.
Detroit becomes relevant again, bro.
Detroit basketball.
Detroit. Jalen Rose only becomes losing his mind.
Jalen Rose is gonna lose his mind. He's gonna be like, "Let's go."
For real. All right. A couple things I want to get to before I forget. So, there's a couple ways we can go. We can either do number one player in the league or essentially the MVP, you think. I think there's one person that comes to my mind, and he's in the East. Who do you think? Who do you think is the MVP?
All right. So I'm not even being a homer right now. Anthony Davis is my MVP this year if he keeps up what he's doing, because he is fucking dominating. He dropped 55 tonight, and over the last, the Lakers are like 8-2 over their last 10, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Bro, close. I don't know who finally had to talk to that dude, but this is literally the dude that I thought they were getting, and then he's literally been like taking such an insanely backseat to LeBron and then everything, and then getting hurt, and I just like this is a player that people thought they were getting. And he's been absent for the last 2 or 3 years.
So if the Lakers somehow turn it around, and it seems like they finally figured out the formula, and they can make a solid title run this year and be the team that we talked about in our podcast, where they just figured it out, I'm gonna give all the credit to LeBron getting hurt early in the season. And I know it sounds stupid, but he got hurt, right? And Darvin Ham had to say, Anthony Davis, we're playing through you. I don't care if you... I don't know what happened when Frank Vogel was here, but everything's going through you. And that's when it all kind of clicked, and Anthony Davis kind of remembered, I'm a bad mother. And if you go back to when LeBron got hurt, that's when the team started to kind of gel. And even he's kind of taking that approach of like, yeah, he's talked about it, right, in the past about like, oh, AD's the guy, he's going to drive us home. Right.
They lost that, though. They had lost that for a while. Like, that narrative was not there for the longest time.
If you watch how they've been playing lately, they kind of went back to that, like, for real. And he's like, the game against. Okay, so I don't know if you saw any of the Milwaukee game the other night.
I've seen some highlights.
Best game I've seen from the Lakers since the bubble, and like there was even a play where like Miami LeBron would have yammed that shit on Giannis. He goes up and he uses himself to block so AD can get a dunk in transition. It's like, that's what I'm talking about, LeBron. You don't got to do everything, man. You just give it to him. Make it easy. Come in the fourth quarter, hit a couple clutch buckets. Kobe figured it out pretty fast. You know what I mean? He figured it out pretty fast, and then he even figured it out again with Powell. He let Powell do a lot of the heavy lifting down low. And, man, I think they're on the right track. But if you had to ask me who my MVP is, I think Anthony Davis is trending in the right direction, and I have to rescind my Damian Lillard pick because he got hurt again.
I'm gonna say that was maybe one of your most homer takes for sure, but I think my MVP for the year is hands down, not even close, Jason Tatum. Homie is playing absolutely insane, bro. If you look, I want you to look right now online and see who people think are the favorite. It's either him or Giannis. It's either the two of them.
All right, after tonight or before tonight?
No, even bro, Jason Tatum just put a 50 piece last week. So Anthony Davis is behind, bro. But Jason's been doing it this entire
he went
year.
at
They've been doing it in the entire
right.
year. Like the sample size
That's
for
fair.
Davis is very small, so that's why I don't think so. Right now, I think it's
fair.
Jason
That's
Tatum.
we're talking 10-game stretch versus 20. So
There
half
we-
the year he's been doing.
Hey, it's
But-
an MVP.
but-
It's not the half year MVP.
Right, but you have to look at like this.
And the standings are
Where
nowhere near. Even if they win out, which sorry for dropping the F-bomb, but even if they finish the rest of the season, like I think that the Celtics are going to finish in the top 3 of the East, and the Lakers are going to sniff the playoffs, bro. I'm saying it right now. They may be in the play-in game.
You want to make a bet right here in front of our whole podcast
Oh yeah,
audience
let's go. Okay, do you think they're gonna be? I will bet you that they won't be in the top 4 in the West, and that's the only way that I think that Anthony Davis could win MVP.
I'll take it if you go top 5. I'll take that bet.
Top 5?
I think that.
Okay.
I think they're top 5 in the West.
Okay, let's.
I think after what I saw,
we're shaking on it. We'll get the details, but we're doing a verbal shake, bro. That's it. We got it. We got him on the pod right now. He says they're gonna be top 5. Okay, is it top 5 and he's the MVP, or they're top 5?
No, just that they're top 5.
Okay.
But I think he's at the level. I think in order for them to be top 5, he needs to be the MVP level. And I'm telling you, if you go take his numbers, like even the game against Giannis the other night, they don't win that game. Anthony Davis is the reason they won that game. He had 44 to Giannis's 40. So you know what I mean? So it's like he went toe to toe with what everyone's been saying is like arguably the best in the league for the last 5 years, right? And Anthony Davis was at that point. Remember,
I literally think Giannis is still the. I think Giannis is playing like a man possessed. Like he's playing right. LeBron like good in terms of he's playing so good that people are taking it for granted.
Right. Well, I'm not taking it for granted. I'm sorry, I have my little squeezy shark. I'm not taking it for granted. I love watching Giannis play because it's amazing what he does. It's like, how can someone be so good? But what I think people are forgetting is like there was a point early in Anthony Davis' career where they're like, he's going to pass LeBron. He's already passed LeBron. So that Anthony Davis, if he can stay healthy, shout out to the man above, keep him healthy this year, and keep this same mentality, like, I think he's like their 1A, 1B because like we saw it the other night. Like Giannis had an amazing game. Like and Davis at his best can play with anyone. So it's gonna be interesting.
If he can keep it up, like that's the thing. If he does it for the rest of the season, I will on the pod come in here and say you were right. But I just don't. I just don't think that that's gonna be the case. But we'll see.
I think we're one shooter, one move away from being title contenders.
Bro,
I think
are like 3 shooters. I think you guys are at least minimum 2 shooters away. And sorry, I can't do my 2 just yet. I'm still trying to get my fingers though.
Well, like we talked about in that pod when I said like they need to make some moves. I still think they need to make a move, but Russell Westbrook has actually finally bought into his role, and if you look at his numbers, he's playing fantastic.
Oh yeah,
he's probably going to win 6th man of the year.
Yeah, he finally turned it around, but he may have turned it around good enough to get traded.
Well, I was going to tell you to the point where people are like, it sounds like people are calling for him and looking to get him in a trade. But if you're the Lakers and things are gelling and he works in that role, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. They don't have any pieces is a problem. Like they don't have anybody to ship. You know who they could ship? LeBron. like, but they won't ship him. Like I really think he probably retires there. And so I just you guys just don't have anybody else that is worth like besides Anthony Davis, LeBron, and I think that Westbrook is essentially immovable. Like I just don't think that he's That's the only thing. I think you guys are close. Like you guys really are close, but I just don't know how you guys ever get them.
I think we're gonna end up packaging a pick, and I'm gonna say a pick. What the heck's his name? Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, and we're gonna package all that for a shooter. So maybe like a Buddy Hield, or I saw some names getting thrown up and I can't remember, but I think that's what we're gonna end up doing because But it'd be tough. I like what Patrick Beverley brings to the team. Like that game in Phoenix the other night when he knocked the shit out of.
Bro, I think you guys need it. You guys need somebody like that because I don't think you guys have enough down gritty. Like you guys need a couple people like that. So I'm way more in the camp of trying to ship Russ and a couple picks because you know what though, he's coming off your books this year, so that makes it tough.
I was totally with you until he bought in, and then he's
been playing really well though. I'm not mad at his latest play.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and once he bought in, it changed my whole perception on him. Because like I told you, man, even in that podcast, I was like, if he can buy in, he fits what they need off the bench. But like, it's always been that thing with Westbrook. Can you get him to believe? Get himself out of his own head, and it seems like he's finally like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But back to your MVP discussion. For me, Anthony Davis, I think he's starting to solidify himself as like he's the MVP this year. He's carrying us. He's carrying right now.
Bro.
He is him.
Bro, this is the most homer take. I'm calling it right now. If Mario has never made a more homer Laker take than this one right now. I think
call him Himmy Turner.
Okay. All right, we'll wrap it up pretty quick. But okay, so if it's not him, what are your two next dudes?
Yeah, Jason Tatum and Antetokounmpo.
Yeah,
Devin Booker's in there too.
Yeah,
Devin Booker's in there.
So I think it's literally Jason Tatum 1, Giannis 2, and I think Book is putting his name in there, and they're trying to make the narrative that he's that dude because he was literally they're like, look at his stats, he's doing great, and then he dropped a 50 piece, and then I'm like, okay, homie's trying to go for the MVP, which he's gonna have to play good for the rest of the year for the Suns to even have a because they're a good team this year, but bro, I don't even think clips are gonna clip. I think that the curse is actually with Chris Paul, dude. His teams have unraveled like no teams have unraveled before. The Houston Rockets, his Clippers, like the Suns in that final. Like I think he's the catalyst for some of that. Like his play just is inconsistent in the playoffs, and so he's gonna have to play out of his mind. Like Book, I think is gonna have to carry him. He's gonna have to hit another level. Like he has to go to Jason Tatum level because I think that Jason Tatum right now is a superstar. Because I thought he was
Jason. Yeah, no, Jason Tatum is that. He's Himmy Turner as well. Like he's that dude. Himmy Turner. He's him.
He's that dude. All right.
But like I'm telling you right now, Lakers Celtics play in a couple and pretty soon here, Nate.
Oh, so, let's look for it. Let's see when that game is, bro. I want to see that game.
I'm pretty sure it's within the week.
We'll make a bet on that thing.
And we can see who's more Himmy Turner right there.
Let's see it, dude. Because I will tell you that the Celtics appear to have a way better team, so I don't even know if that's really a. Oh, it's
next Tuesday.
Yeah, dude. Okay, we'll get it. We'll get that, dude. we'll come back on that. All right, partner. I think we're
back off of this road trip. So.
Is it? How are we doing on time? I think we're way over our time limit.
Yeah, we're about to hit 30 minutes. We're like an hour and a half in right now, so
we're an hour and a half in, bro.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh
I'm
my
like 90%.
Oh my god, we went way over time. Sorry guys, we this is a long pod. This is supposed to be a quick pod, and we're like, oh no, it won't go that long. We normally have the constraints of the camera telling us, hey man, this is your segment, you got to keep it moving. But anyways, all right, my dude. Well, thanks guys for tuning in for our first remote pod. This might be an avenue we might explore more whenever we're trying to have some guests on, and so we'll see how it goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any topic like discussions, anything you guys want us to touch on, please send it our way. We'd love to like have some topics that you guys want to chat about, and we'll try to touch on them.
Yeah, man. Also, yeah. I don't know what I was.
I thought you were gonna say also subscribe. We have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. They're all NM Farmers Market. Check them out. If you guys have questions, let us know.
Oh, I know where I was going with that. I was gonna say also too, like if something comes up quick in the week and we're just like, Nate, just hop on real quick. We can
we might have some like like we might be dropping clips this way just because we're like, hey, we want to talk about this, like it's burning. So yeah, so this might be a cool way to do that going forward.
Yeah, guys, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.
Later, partners. Later, brother. We'll see you.